Abortion was also on the ballot in several states. Voters in 7 states approved measures to protect or expand abortion rights, but a bid to restore protections for the procedure failed in Florida. Voters in Missouri cleared the way to undo one of the nation's most restrictive abortion bans. Voters in Arizona, Colorado, Maryland, Montana, Nevada, and New York also voted in support of abortion rights. But voters in Florida, Nebraska, and South Dakota defeated the measure, leaving current bans in place. With me now is Kathryn Kolbert. She's a reproductive rights attorney and author of the book, Controlling Women, What We Must Do Now to Save Reproductive Freedom. Good morning. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. I have to begin by getting your reaction to the results overnight that Donald Trump has been reelected.
Well, if you care about reproductive rights, if you care about women's autonomy, it's a very, very sad day because the Republican control of the Senate will mean that President Trump will be able to nominate new justices in the conservative mold to the court. In addition, it means that they will be able to implement a variety of strategies at the federal level that could mean abortion bans across all states. And for the first time since Dobbs, we saw 3 states lose efforts to make sure that abortion is protected in their states. So I think it's been a horrible, horrible election for those who care deeply about this issue.
Are you surprised, in a sense, because we know that abortion rights, reproductive rights, was something that Kamala Harris pushed from the get-go, even when before she was running, and the polls were indicating that with this wide gender gap, that it might come through for Harris. So, are you surprised by what has happened, by what has transpired?
Well, you know, I'm in Pennsylvania, and the ground game for Harris in Pennsylvania was just extraordinary. So I am, in some respects, very surprised. But I think what we learned from this is that Harris only had a few weeks to kind of introduce herself to the country. Everybody knows Donald Trump in his both his good sides and his bad, and that made a difference in an election in which there were economic headwinds against us. I think one of the things that actually surprised me throughout the campaign was how deeply so many Americans care about this issue. I have been working on this for 30 years. I've never seen rallies and support for reproductive freedom, for bodily autonomy like we saw in this election. And even though we lost, I think it's a very clear sign that this issue is not going to go away.
Do you consider the results a setback? How do you characterize them?
Yes, it's definitely a setback. We lost 3 state votes. 2 of which were expected, in my view. The Florida vote, we actually won by 57% of the vote, but you needed 60 to enact a change to the Florida Constitution. And in South Dakota, we also lost. And in, I think it was Nebraska, there was 2 conflicting amendments on the Constitution on the ballot, and so it was very confusing. So I thought we might lose that one as well. What I didn't expect was how decisively Trump won the national election. And I think the control of the Senate combined with Trump in the presidency is a very, very problematic situation for people who care about the courts, who care about reproductive rights, because he has incredible levers of power that he can use to interfere with women's ability to make decisions about their bodies.
Where does this leave women right now who have woken up across America feeling scared and hopeless?
Well, you know, political change in how men and women relate to each other does not come quickly. And so I think we have to go back to the view that all of this is a lifetime effort, that we need to put this setback away for a while and then continue to work for change, because ultimately we will win. We have the majority in the United States. It just means we need to keep at it. But for the next couple of weeks, at least, I think it's important that we all take care of ourselves, do something fun, spend time with our kids, in order to overcome the grief.
Kathryn, thanks so much for being with us today. Kathryn Kolbert is a reproductive rights attorney, and she's the author of the book Controlling Women: What We Must Do Now to Save Reproductive Freedom.